Welcome. In this explainer, we're going to see how a single conflict can send shockwaves across the entire globe, touching, well, everything from the price of gas to the tech on your phone, and we're going to do it by looking at just one single day. You'll see just how connected our world truly is.
I mean, think about it. It's a huge question, right? How can one event in one single place create such an immediate, widespread impact? Well, in our hyper-connected world, the effects just ripple out faster than ever. So let's trace the path they take, starting with a single date. Okay, so the date is Monday, March 16th, 2026. By looking at the top news stories from just this one 24-hour period, we're going to build a global map of cause and effect, and you're going to see just how deeply interconnected everything has become. Our story begins right here, in one of the most critical naval choke points on the entire planet, the Strait of Hormuz. You got to think of it as a narrow highway for a huge chunk of the world's oil. This is the stone thrown into the pond, the event that's going to set everything else in motion. And there it is, the spark. In his very first public statement, Iran's new supreme leader delivers a message that is crystal clear. The blockade of the Straits of Hormuz will continue. Now, this isn't just a threat. It's a direct challenge to the global flow of energy. So this creates an immediate standoff. You've got the United States, under President Trump, trying to rally allies to force the waterway open. And on the other side, you have Iran, absolutely determined to keep it shut. Two totally opposing goals, with the entire world's economy just hanging in the balance. And this isn't just a naval issue. Oh no, the conflict is already spilling over. On this exact same day, Israel begins ground operations in southern Lebanon, targeting Hezbollah. It just shows you how quickly a regional flashpoint can ignite everything around it. Now, behind all these geopolitical chess moves, there's an immediate and, frankly, a devastating human cost. The numbers reported on this single day alone, well, they tell a pretty powerful story. 170. That's the number of people, many of them civilians, who were allegedly killed in a U.S. or Israeli airstrike on a school in Iran, according to Amnesty International. It's a number that just highlights the immediate, tragic reality of this conflict. And this tragedy isn't just confined to one area. In neighboring Afghanistan, Kabul is accusing Pakistan of killing 400 people in an attack on a hospital. Now, Pakistan denies the claim, but the number itself really speaks to the instability just rippling through the whole region. The response from the international community is swift. You can see it here. The European Union announces nearly €500 million in emergency aid for Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan. This number reflects not just the crisis happening right now, but the recognition of a looming humanitarian catastrophe. Okay, so we've seen the epicenter and the human cost. Now, let's zoom out and trace those ripple effects as they spread across the globe. You'll see them impacting everything from the power grid to, well, maybe the very device you're watching this on. So the first ripple is, you guessed it, energy. Closing the Strait of Hormuz is like clamping a major artery of the global economy, and that shockwave is felt immediately. You can see the cause and effect laid out so clearly here. First, just look at that top row. The Hormuz blockade creates extreme volatility in oil prices. And the long-term response? Nations like the Philippines are basically forced to fast-track their move to renewables, hoping to protect themselves from this exact kind of shock. Now look at the second row for a much more direct hit. A related U.S. oil blockade on Cuba leads to a total collapse of the island's electrical grid, and that sparks widespread protests. The next ripple, this one, takes us from the physical world right into the digital one. This is no longer just a war of ships and missiles, people. It's fast becoming a war of bits and bytes. And this brings us to this rising trend of corporate cyber warfare. So what is it? It's when state-backed hackers target private companies as part of a bigger conflict, turning corporations into battlegrounds. On this very day, the medical tech giant Stryker reports major system outages from a cyber attack linked back to Iran. It's a pretty stark reminder that in modern conflict, the front line can be literally anywhere. This crisis also creates what you could call a diplomatic freeze. With the world focused on the brink of war, all these other critical issues get put on hold, and international relations, they basically grind to a halt. You can see the fallout unfolding in real time. The U.S. is struggling to build its naval coalition because key allies are getting hesitant. At the same time, President Trump delays a super critical meeting with China's Xi Jinping. The urgent completely crowds out the important, and the entire global diplomatic agenda gets hijacked by this one crisis. But here's the thing you gotta remember. Even as a major crisis dominates all the headlines,
the rest of the world doesn't just stop. Billions of other lives, stories, and events are all continuing to unfold at the exact same time. So on this same day, what else is happening? Well, Hollywood is celebrating the Oscars with a historic win for cinematography. Team USA is advancing in the World Baseball Classic, a solar flare is briefly messing with radio signals, and in the tech world, the dating app Bumble is launching a new AI assistant. I mean, it's a dizzying snapshot of a world that is always, always in motion. And, other geopolitical moves are still being made. While the US is totally consumed by the Middle East, China is strengthening ties elsewhere, congratulating Kazakhstan on a major political development. It's a powerful reminder that the great power competition, it never really takes a day off. And so we see the connections, from a blockade in a narrow strait to a blackout in the Caribbean, from a cyber attack on a medical company to a delayed diplomatic meeting. The threads of this one crisis weave their way through the entire fabric of our globalized world. And that really leaves us with one final question to chew on. In a world where the effects of one event can travel at the speed of light and the speed of finance, can we ever really call a crisis local again? It's something to think about. Thanks so much for joining us.